I'm Director of Health and Wellness here at the Consumer Goods Forum, and you're all very, very welcome to our Health and Wellness webinar, where we want to give you the insights from our latest annual report, which we published in March, and which I'm assuming all of you have had the chance to read, either the full version or the executive summary. And a big thank you to all of you on the phone who actually participated in the annual report. We're really, really grateful for all of your help and your support to do that. We couldn't do it without your input, your data, and your support. So a big thank you in advance. So today's speakers, who we have on the phone, like everything at CGF, this annual report is a collaborative project, and it is created by our members. And with the big support of our partners, Deloitte. So we have Petra from Nestle, who co-led the measurement and reporting work stream here at the Consumer Goods Forum, and also happens to co-lead the entire steering committee of the Health and Wellness pillar. So double job. And she does that work along with Harmyan from Ahold Delhaize, who sends his apologies, but he couldn't join us today. We have Jack from Deloitte, who's a lead partner working with us along with his fellow team members at Deloitte and supporting us now on Health and Wellness for a number of years. We have Mary from Unilever. Mary is going to step into Petra's shoes to lead the measurement and reporting work stream with us on behalf of Unilever, and myself, Sharon, from the CGF. So you're all on mute on today's webinar. We will keep the conversation to as limited time as possible to make sure that we have possibilities to get your questions by the end of the webinar. You have plenty of time to ask questions at the end. You can either use the chat box, which you should see on the right-hand corner of your screen, or you can send myself directly an email, which you'll be able to see on the next slide, which is s.bly@theconsumergoodsforum.com. We'll also potentially unmute the phones if any of you want to raise your hand and ask a question at the end of the webinar. So what are we going to talk about today? I will just give you a quick context on the health and wellness pillar, just so you situate our work and what we do here on the overall topic of health and wellness. Jack is going to give us an overview on the landscape of health and wellness and the not so hidden opportunity that I'm sure all of your companies are working on. Petra will bring us through our fourth year in this measurement and reporting exercise, some of the key learnings and some of the key insights that she's seen over the past number of years that we've been doing this exercise. Something new that we initiated was our materiality matrix, which you will have seen we inserted into the report, and we're also going to do later on in the year a specific webinar on materiality matrix and that exercise for companies who are interested. Mary will then bring us through what's next and what are our milestones in measurement and reporting for 2017 and what's important to us as we move forward. And there you can see the email on the screen. If you want to ask any questions, please do shoot me an email through the webinar. It's s.bligh@theconsumergoodsforum.com or via the chat on the right-hand corner of the screen. So just a quick overview on the context of the CGF. As many of you will know, we're an international organization. We work on a number of topics that have been identified by the 50 CEOs who sit on our board. We're a collaborative organization made up of retailers and manufacturers, so everything we do, we look on common areas that we can work on as the retailer and manufacturing community together. And you can see here on your screen, we work on environmental and social sustainability. We work on product safety, notably with our global food safety initiative. Our area, which you'll hear about today, which is health and wellness. And we also have end-to-end value chain and standards, where we touch on digital transparency, online IT, marketing, and commerce. And at the end of it all, I suppose what we're all working together to do is really to share back all of the knowledge that you've all created and the best practices to advance the industry's agenda. So the foundation of our work in health and wellness and what we're trying to measure and report are the progress that we're making on a set of resolutions and commitments that we've made and we have committed to along with the board of directors and the members of the Consumer Goods Forum. So when we started out this health and wellness journey in 2010, 2011, we decided on the basis, the fundamentals of what we wanted to work on, and we set a framework and a set of guidelines under what we call our resolutions. And you'll see here on the screen there are three main areas. We wanted to make sure that all CGF member companies were offering consumers and shoppers a range of products and services that supported healthier diets and lifestyles. We wanted to make sure that all CGF member companies are providing transparent information and that we're really empowering companies, consumers with this information to make those informed choices. And we wanted to make sure that our CGF members were using all of their skills in communication and all the educational programs that they have to raise awareness on health and wellness and really to inspire consumers to make that choice towards a healthier diet and lifestyle. And then in 2014, many of you will know, we decided to make public commitments on 4 specific areas, and this is where we'll give a zoom in on our results today on how we performed in these 4 areas. We wanted to make policies public on nutrition and product formulation by 2016. We wanted all of you to implement employee health and wellness programs by 2016, and we're still working towards consistent consumer information to help and empower those consumers to make informed choices by 2018, and by 2018 as well to stop marketing communications to children under 12 that don't fulfill specific nutrition criteria. So those are the areas, the framework that we based our progress report on. And then if we look at the next slide, you can see this is the overall health and wellness framework that we as a steering committee work towards. So you can see here the fundamentals and the foundation of our house are 3 of those 4 commitments that we drive and we push and support implementation across the CGF member companies. And on our collaborative industry leadership piece, we're working towards really bringing more and more leadership on looking after our own people, so our own employees, the 10 million of you who work for CGF member companies. And we're setting a roadmap for action this year on Collaboration for Healthier Lives, which is a set of pilots looking at how retailers and manufacturers can together in store and in communities really impact behavioural change and bring positive change to communities around the globe. So we have a number of pilots that we're going to roll out this year. So this is really the house that we all work on, and of course the top of it, our vision is of course empowered healthy consumers globally. So that's in 5 minutes an overview of the health and wellness pillar at the CGF, where all of the different actions sit, and all of this is steered and governed by 30 executives who make up the Health and Wellness Steering Committee, and of whom Petra co-leads the team with Ahold Delhaize. And of course, if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them at the end of the webinar. And with that short overview, I'll hand you over to Jack from Deloitte, who, as I mentioned, have been partnering with us at CGF from the very creation of our measurement work stream, and have been with us through, I would say, a continuous improvement model as we report out on our progress on the resolutions and commitments. So Jack, over to you.
Great, thank you, Sharon. I think where I'd like to start is just point out, make a few comments about the report itself to give you a little bit of background and the things that I think are truly important about it. And first and foremost, you know, as Sharon said, we've been at this for a few years. We're actually in our 4th year of creating this report. And I want to call out the fact that I think it's absolutely one-of-a-kind report when it comes to really taking a look at the progress our industry is making in the area of health and wellness on behalf of our consumers and our employees, and the fact that we bring together on a global basis progress across manufacturers and retailers that serve that community. I don't know of another report that looks at it and monitors the progress year over year of the efforts and the impact that we're having. I think the second point, and this is one that, Sharon, if you'll remember, was very important from the very beginning that we started the effort, was this was not about a marketing effort. We wanted this to be authentic. We wanted it to be true, show the good, and show the important areas of improvement that we as an industry need to make to continue to drive this topic of health and wellness and do well, not just on behalf of consumers and their families and our employees, but also on behalf of our shareholders, stakeholders, and our businesses and our communities. Because when we do this right, benefits are broad and everyone comes out better at the end. And then finally, the importance of collaboration, which comes out in a number of thoughts, bullet points on this particular slide. But this is truly, to be successful, we need to have a holistic industry-wide approach. We need to be looking for opportunities for manufacturers and retailers to collaborate, to work together, to bring new ideas and have positive impact on our consumers, employees, and their communities. So it's really important that we keep the collaboration theme in mind as we go through the call today and think about the future ahead of us. Next slide, please. So let's take a few minutes and talk about the importance and the topic of health and wellness. Clearly, you can pick up any paper, read any report today, and the trend, the importance of health and wellness globally is undeniable. Consumers everywhere are taking a greater interest in their health and wellness, from eating better to exercising to protecting their skin from sun. The CGF Health and Wellness Resolutions and Commitments have positioned member companies not only to spur progress on health and wellness issues, but also to recognize the myriad business opportunities that can result. No other industry touches so many people's lives on a daily basis. Through our collaborative actions, our members can lead positive change and demonstrate a positive role of business in society. And our CGF Board of Directors have long recognized how critical health and wellness are to the stability and the prosperity of nations. They have made it one of their priorities so that we can be a leader in positive action for the benefits of those we serve every day and everywhere. And while the goals are not easy, they are achievable. Guided by the UN Sustainability Development Goals, our initiatives are meant to inspire further sustainable individual and collective action. The industry faces a clear call to action, and there is an unprecedented opportunity not only to respond to unmet consumer needs, but to simultaneously contribute solutions to health and wellness challenges. What's exciting is the fact that as we've done this over the last few years and have captured best practices and learnings, we're seeing the many ways in which our members of CGF are making visible efforts to improve health and wellness of their employees or consumers, their families, and the communities that they serve across geographies. But we all have to recognize that this is an ongoing journey, and there's much progress to be done. Companies are in various states of evolution around this topic area, but we have to strongly encourage all of us to join this effort and do it on a collective basis. Next slide. As evidence of the importance of health and wellness, over the last few years at Deloitte, we've done research, we've worked with consumers, we've done surveys, we've actually have gone out and accompanied consumers and their families on shopping trips in their homes to see how they use products, how they think about the concept of health and wellness, and quite frankly, about the other factors that are driving their decisions when they purchase products and services from consumer product companies, and look at it both from a manufacturer and a retailer standpoint. One of the very interesting things that we've noticed over the last few years, and I would say this has been going on in a strong way for the last 5 to 10, is that in an industry where historically the key drivers of purchase of consumer products have primarily been around 3 factors: price, taste or functionality, and convenience. And what we've noticed as we begin working with consumers and watching their behavior, there's a number of other factors that are beginning to take a strong position in terms of guiding preference to consumers about how they're choosing products for themselves and their families. And it's interesting, as we begin to identify and put names to what those other factors are, we've come up with 5. And the one that's most important at the top of the list in today's consumers' minds, and I think this is true around the world, and it may be at different levels or stages of maturation, is the topic of health and wellness. We find that, particularly in larger countries where there's access to good information, health and wellness is the #1 important driver today, alongside price, taste, and convenience, and how consumers think about companies that they buy from and support and the products that they purchase. Now, it's also interesting, when you go beyond health and wellness, the 4 other factors are safety, or transparency. So do I get the right information, accurate information about what I'm buying and the company behind it? The next factor is social responsibility, often talked about as sustainability. And the final factor is experience. So the whole experience of the purchasing process, from evaluation to usage of the product. And what's interesting to me is if I step back and look at what CGF is focused on as an organization, you clearly cover 3 of those 5 areas. So health and wellness, as we talk about today, and obviously the important areas of sustainability and food safety. So to me, CGF is really on mark in terms of being close to the consumer, understanding where the trends are, and putting that high on its list of priorities and making those focus areas for working with all the participants within the industry. Next slide, please. I think where I'd like to wrap up is just in talking about health and wellness, talking about the change that we're seeing with consumers around the world, the fact that there is a true opportunity here. And it's not so hidden, as the slide calls out. Consumers believe that we, our industry, manufacturers and retailers, that we have a responsibility to help them live healthier lives. And I think we all recognize that that's not such an easy proposition. It means we have to challenge many of the conventions and ways in which we have conducted business for decades, including rethinking the way that we formulate our products, the way we manage our product portfolios and our assortment, how we source ingredients, how we manage our supply chain, the kind of labeling, the kind of education we put around our products and services so that consumers can really understand the benefit that they're being provided and how to get the most benefit through usage. And finally, we need to rethink about the way we engage with consumers, the way we communicate with them, the way we market to them, the kind of information we share. And what's wonderful about this is, as we rethink old ways of doing business, we rethink about the priority and the focus that our consumers have. If we get this right, we really have an opportunity to engage consumers in a way that we've never done it before. And it also requires the fact that we will need to engage every function across our organization in a more collaborative way than ever before. So this is not just about engaging retailers and manufacturers across the industry. There's also an opportunity and need to rethink about how we engage and collaborate across every function of the organization to deliver this well in a very consumer-centric oriented way. The good news on all of this is that the Consumer Goods Forum is here to help. The health and wellness pillar is a catalyst for sharing best practices and collaboration. And this is an industry challenge, and as an industry, I firmly believe that we'll succeed. And for each of you in your organizations, healthier consumers, healthier, more productive employees, and an industry that is viewed as part of the answer, part of the solution, I think creates an opportunity, creates an environment where we can all be successful. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Petra to talk a little bit about the survey findings this year. Petra?
Thank you very much, Jack and Sharon, and welcome everybody. And I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to share a little bit about our efforts in reporting. I mean, Sharon has shown us the framework that the pillar is going to work for and towards, and it's actually now the 4th year that, you know, it was said already by Jack that we are trying to not only measure but also to share the story and motivate the internal membership and also engage external stakeholders behind the process that we are making. And year on year we have been evolving and improving in the sense that we have been gathering more companies to actually take the effort to report, because I think this reporting exercise gives us as individual companies also the opportunity to see where we stand, and it provides a platform that helps us actually also within our organizations to move to next steps and actually get recognition for what we have achieved and create urgency to what we need to move forward. While we have a quite heterogeneous membership from small companies to very big companies to locally acting to regional and global acting companies, between manufacturers, retailers, and within manufacturers, food companies, but also the personal care and hygiene companies, the reporting, good news, is very inclusive. Everybody can basically report against the resolutions and the commitments, and we are now also helping with the CGF measurement and reporting to work towards the implementation to make it easier and provide like a tiered approach that helps us to share the current progress wherever you are on the journey. And with the framework of the house that Sharon has been sharing, where we have basics and then the leadership opportunities, we also are moving toward an implement or explain model. Just to provide the transparency Jack was mentioning, this is expected from us as an industry to truly be transparent about what we do. So, you know, we cannot hide behind the finger, so to speak, by, you know, putting commitments out and then not providing transparency in how we are providing toward. However, the progress is very positive, and if we look now at the level of the commitments in the next slide, you can see that from the commitment perspective, we have been also showing progress as it relates to product formulation and employee health and wellness programs. These two basically were commitments that were due in 2016, and as you see, there was probably room for having a bigger traction on publishing our efforts in product formulation, because what we do know is that there were quite significant efforts in reformulation that happened across companies. However, there hasn't been that many companies that really did also publish their efforts into public policies around that topic. So while we have been making these achievements toward 2016, the teams, the working groups that have been driving the commitments for 2016 are now reviewing actually what the next steps and the way forward is. So please bear with us to continue your efforts in the respective areas, and we will communicate very soon from these two areas how we will basically progress and what is expected from member companies in the continuation of that journey. There are two other commitments which are due in 2018. One of that is related to consumer information and product labeling, and the second one is related to responsible marketing, and more specifically to the marketing to children. Again, here progress has been made. We really need to increase our efforts to deliver strongly against these commitments that were made, and the two working groups that are driving this, these two commitments, they also will continue really to drive the implementation of it. So we will continue to count on all member companies to keep the efforts up and help us to establish as much as we can the two commitments. Needless to say that basically, given that we have a unique situation with the Consumer Goods Forum to being CEO-led, it is actually the agendas of our individual CEOs that we have a due responsibility to actually transform and implement through our individual companies to make sure that actually we have a high visibility on these identified areas generically in conjunction and collectively through the CGF. So the good news is also when we look now how that report has been resonating outside. It basically had a very significant resonation with with journalists. So we had the most important pickup in terms of media pickup from over the last few years. So this is something that I think we can truly acknowledge. There were specific areas that were specifically taken up, which I believe also they are resonating highly with what the outside world is expecting from us, such as, for example, reformulation of our products. And you could see also that Bloomberg, for example, was very much interested in this as well, and it really generates now the discussion at a level where very high-ranking communication channels really will drive the communication around that. So that's excellent news. And while we basically trigger more media focus, we can also gain the momentum and use this momentum to drive further on the health and wellness communication. And we really truly want to grow the traction of that topic year on year as we evolve. And of course, we will grow that communication and traction along the line of the framework of the strategic framework of our pillar. So we hope that next year we can really include the efforts made in a holistic manner as it relates to our strategic framework. So also if we look into a few key highlights that I think are outstanding, that also we can be very proud of, yeah, I would like to share a few topic points with you. So first of all, I really would like to re-emphasize the thanks for those companies that have made the efforts to report. As said, we moved up from 78 companies in 2015 to 102 companies reporting in 2016, and hence I think we really getting traction, and we want to further build that. What have we been achieving as an industry? The report has shown that we are actually reaching quite a significant number of people simply by targeting our employees. And I think that is something that is expected from us as an industry, that we do start driving the health and wellness agenda with the people that work within the value chain. And in the report we have been showing that 1.3 million employees have participated in programs. So definitely this is an amazing starting point, and we want to build and increase that number definitely over the next few years. And not only have we been reaching our own employees and people that work in the value chain, but we also are extremely active in reaching, of course, billions of people. And Jack had been mentioning it, we are probably one of the industries that can reach most of the people, and the number reported in the report is 2.3 billion people. So this is basically more or less coming approximately to a third of the world population, which I think is impressive. And also, you know, for me it makes me humble to feel the responsibility of, you know, that we have to responsibly contribute to the health and wellness of these people. We also have seen that companies have been reporting that we are in total active in over 30,000 communities with community programs. So that is a fantastic also momentum, which I believe inspires us also for the leadership topic of collective action in the healthier collaborations for healthier life. So that is an amazing starting point here as well. The number of reformulated products, I found it really impressive as well. It was 180,000 products that were renovated or reformulated or innovated precisely for the purpose to drive health and wellness. So that's really quite amazing. And also I think this year we took also a few questions in to understand, are we becoming a reference? Are companies becoming a reference? So we have been looking also of you know, government relations, and it was very interesting to that 45% of the companies that did report in 2016 have been consulted by national and regional governments on age and health and wellness initiatives. This for me is also, I think, makes me very optimistic to see a first proof point that what we can contribute as an industry is relevant and credible, and that it is actually cited also more generally in the public health context. So finally, I would like to also, just take the opportunity to drive you toward our case studies, because not only do I wanted to share the progress here, but also you find a lot of examples from companies in our case studies page of the CGF, and I would very strongly encourage you to read through some of them because they can be really inspiring and I think also very practical in terms of what you can do as individual companies. And it may as well inspire to share your own best practices and case studies. So the booklet basically is also quite successful already. It can be downloaded and has been already downloaded over 3,500 times. So I think we probably also get feedback through this number that this information is relevant, and we will continue also to track these kind of values to truly understand what is it that basically help companies most to move forward in their health and wellness agendas. So, and then lastly, I would just also spend a minute on the materiality metrics, which was the first time that we have been doing this. The reason why we went through the first time the exercise to create a materiality matrix was to plot actually the topic areas that are relevant for our industry. On one hand, towards what members of the CGF consider as significant topics. So you see this on the x-axis, and on the y-axis you see actually the significance of these topics to external stakeholders. So that really allows you to map and see, are we focusing on the right things that are not only relevant for us internally as companies, but is this also seen as relevant externally? And I think it's quite, the first snapshot that we got here is quite encouraging, because a lot of the topics that you see here in the darker blue quadrants and in the lighter blue quadrants in the middle is basically demonstrating that most of the topics that we consider are actually covered. I would like to highlight that we did this exercise with a very limited focus on the health and wellness pillar. So if you would be surprised to see certain aspects of food security or safety or sustainability aspects relatively low, it's due to the fact that we took this through the lens of health and wellness very specifically. Having said that, it is also now of our interest to really build that more firmly, and we will take as a next step now the opportunity to build further and foster our materiality matrix by expanding it to the sustainability aspects, and hence we are planning actually to prepare that and share it at the Sustainability Retail Summit, at the Sustainable Retail Summit in October this year. For any detailed question on the materiality matrix, please do not hesitate to reach out. I think the easiest is probably to channel all questions. If we can't answer them today, always through Sharon, but we are very happy to share any more technical details as you would be interested. And with this, I hand back to Sharon.
Great, thank you, Petra, and thank you, Jack. And as I mentioned at the beginning, Petra co-leads our steering committee along with Julie Green from Ahold Delhaize, and Petra had led our work on measurement and reporting and is handing over the baton to two new executives who are in the CGF network. We have Frank from Ahold Delhaize and Mary Kearney from Unilever, who are coming on board now to lead our measurement and reporting work stream. And I would just, I think Frank and Mary would agree, a call out for anyone who's on the phone and has an interest in communications, measurement and reporting, you're interested in getting involved in the work stream or potentially joining the group, please let us know, because we'd be very interested in getting new individuals on the team. And I'll hand you over now to Mary just to bring us through the next steps in our journey on measurement and reporting. Mary.
Thanks, Sharon, for the introduction and the kind welcome to the next phase of the Consumer Goods Forum Health and Wellness work. I'd also like to extend a huge thanks to Petra and Parmian already for the massive amount of work that's been going into the Health and Wellness Survey over the last couple of years, and indeed across the whole pillar. I'm not sure about filling your shoes, Petra, but I'll definitely do my best. As you've seen, we've got some fantastic results that we've been able to share in the report over the last couple of years. But the journey continues. This is not something that we're going to rest on our laurels for at all. Sharon has pulled out some of the key points on the slides there. It's really about particularly focusing on continuing the implementation of the commitments that were already due in 2016. We've seen a lot of companies have engaged, but there's still some more work to do. So together with the Consumer Goods Forum, we'll be looking at those companies to get even further engagement. We'll be looking at even driving more participation in the 2017 survey. As Petra has already pointed out, the respondents' numbers have been increasing every year, and we'll continue to drive that, because the more people who are contributing to the survey and sharing their progress, the more transparent we are and the more credit we will get for the work that is being done, but also recognising the big challenges that are facing us in the world of health and wellness. We'll be looking at the next steps for the commitments around product reformulation and employee wellness. So what are the next steps now that we've reported how many companies have completed those commitments? And we want to continue to provide this continuous flow of best practice and knowledge sharing. Petra already pointed out the case studies booklet, and we want to continue to drive that because it engages more people. It gives another platform for sharing what we are doing, and it encourages companies who are maybe at the start of the journey how to continue further. And building on the strength really of the Consumer Goods Forum, which is the collaboration aspect, we would like to start working more on building industry leadership in the collaboration for healthier lives. So we want to see actions on the in-store collaboration between manufacturers and retailers to see what impact can we have in the communities to help consumers drive healthier lives. And as has already been pointed out a couple of times on the call already, we have a huge number of employees who are working for the member companies of Consumer Goods Forum. I think the number is around 10 million, which is a huge positive force that we can have by engaging our employees in health and wellness. So how do we drive those next steps, and what is the program going to continue to be there in that space? So that's quite a program in the medium to longer term. If we just go to the next slide, we can see what the immediate next steps are. I hope you can see this, yeah. So on May the 22nd, we're going to have a measurement and reporting task force meeting in the Netherlands. We will be at that call or at that meeting in a face-to-face situation with the Consumer Goods Forum. We would really like if more people could join this because it's then a real opportunity to shape where the Health and Wellness Survey is going to go in 2017 and indeed where the overall pillar will develop to as well. I'm sure if people can't make it to the Netherlands, we can work out ways of linking people in other ways, but it would really be a great opportunity for people to join this, and I think would really benefit the survey as well. In June, there is the Global Summit in Berlin, and which will also feature a lot of the Health and Wellness Survey. I think a video is going to be shared at that, and it will be covered during the CEO Board of Directors meeting as well. So we'll be getting some attention for it, highlighting that we're launching the next round in July, with a deadline of September for every company to submit their responses. As before, the CGF team are very happy and willing to help people to participate in the survey if it's the first time, and to give any assistance on how to get the survey data completed in time for that deadline in September. We're aiming to have the executive summary ready by the end of November to share with the CGF Board of Directors, with the launch of the report early in 2018. And I hope what we'll be able to see is even greater media coverage and stakeholder engagement on the results of the survey in the coming year. So there's a call out there on the slide, so please feel free to join the team, and you can let us know now during the call or as a follow-up afterwards if you'd be interested to take part in the task force meeting or in other ways to get engaged. That was it from my side, Sharon.
Super, thank you very much, Mary, and welcome on board. So we have time left for questions. So you have the question panel on the right-hand side of your screen, or you can also send me an email directly. So please don't hesitate to use the time now that you have Jack, Mary, and Petra at your disposal on the webinar. If there are any questions that you'd like to ask any of the speakers, please do so now. So I've received just two or three by chat. So yes, we will be sharing the slide deck with everyone after the call. That's no problem. And we also record the webinars, and we will put that on our website and make sure that's available for any of your colleagues who couldn't join today. Petra, there's a question for you in relation to the case studies that you mentioned. How could I share my story?
Yes, I think that it is a very beautiful opportunity for companies to show the strengths and actually share that with others as an example to thrive, because I think we all kind of, you know, get inspiration through each other in the area, of course, which is non-competitive, that's for sure, but in the area of health and wellness where we feel there is an opportunity to actually stimulate the same activity. So if you have a specific area that you are strong in, and that could be anything you know, which is related to our resolutions and commitments, it would be a great opportunity to share that and align it with your CEO, because these are all CEO case studies. So I think we get it actually from the top level endorsements, which I think is a great opportunity also to demonstrate at what level health and wellness is actually placed in our companies, meaning it's the CEOs that drive the health and wellness agenda. So get inspired. I think there are opportunities for sharing more. I think there is a deadline, Sharon, until end of the month to submit cases actually that could be launched still at the Global Summit in Berlin, right?
Yes, exactly. By mid-May we have a template, and as Petra mentioned, they're CEO endorsed case studies. And if you get in contact with me after the webinar, I have a template for each company to fill in. And if you want to be presented at the Global Summit in June, we would need your story by mid-May. We have a question here, how to join Frank and Mary's group. Great, I think that's good news for us. I'll get in contact with you directly after the call to give you more details about how to get involved in our work stream, and we really appreciate the support, and it would be fantastic if you can come to Aho Deleuze in Zaandam on the 22nd of May. I'll reach out to you after the call. Another one, great presentation, thank you very much. It's great to see and encouraging to see so many companies working together. Yeah, we fully agree with that, and we have a new target for Frank and Mary, of course, to reach next year, which I haven't told them yet, but of course to go beyond the number of companies reporting, and I hope we will be able to have an even wider and broader number of CGF member companies being part of the report. We have a question from Emile. Yes, there's a possibility that we'd be very happy to share the results with at an upcoming meeting at the Institute of Commerce. I'll reach out to you afterwards to see how we can do that, and we'd love to get more French-based companies reporting as well, so I'll reach out to you after that. We have another question. Mary, this one is for you. Is the deadline flexible in September?
I think, Sharon, we had a discussion on this. we would really like to be able to get all the responses in by September. So if there's any issues with getting the responses in, we're very happy to reach out to whoever it is having issues to help get the data in. It's just we have a report to produce. We want to give it to the Board of Directors in November and be able to launch the report on time next year. So you can understand why we have to work with some deadlines. Is there anything else you want to add, Sharon, to that?
No, I think that's it. If you do have as Mary said, if contact Deloitte or ourselves, if you're doing this and you need some support, Deloitte and CGF are here to support you as we're doing this. We're happy to to give phone support to do the survey with you. We'll do whatever we can to make sure that you can be part of the survey, and we're absolutely here to help companies, whether they've done it before, they're new companies that are coming on board. We're here to help, so we can do that. But yes, we will try to stick to our deadline. So I have, I think we've covered all of the questions we've received. We just have one last one by email. And Petra, maybe I'll hand this one to you. So is your agenda changing with this new framework that was shown in the presentation?
Yeah, thanks, Sharon. So no, I think that is also something where the co-sponsors of the pillar have been reassuring the CEOs. I mean, we are not constantly remodeling the agenda. To the contrary, we have quite a consistent agenda. As you saw, the resolutions are out there already since over 5 years now, and they are still relevant, as we have been confirming also through the steering committee. So please feel reassured that this is a consistent message, but what we want to do is actually re-articulate it in a way that, first of all, it becomes very clear what the expectations are when a member company is joining or has been joining the CGF, what we truly expect from companies. It's not only to receive things from the CGF, there is also a responsibility to contribute, and the basics is something which we agreed with the steering committee is something that we truly do expect, that individual member companies will do all the efforts to actually engage in the journey. We understand it has to be stepwise, and that's where we will guide. However, this has to happen. And we, as a steering committee, want to spend more of the time to truly develop and show the leadership that we can bring forward with the CGF, because that is really, really the main priority that we see important to happen. So in that case, in a summary, so it is a confirmed agenda, it is a consistent agenda, it's a re-articulation to make it very clear what is expected, how we also going to continue to report, and where we will also spend the time with the steering committee, less time on what we expect individual companies and working groups to really drive and implement, and then we will spend more time in shaping the leadership agenda at the steering committee level.
Super, thank you very, very much, Petra. So I don't see any more questions coming in. If you do think of something, please, you can connect with us via email on, of course, our website. We have our Twitter, LinkedIn, we do a number of blogs. We're very interested in hearing your stories. If you want to share your case study for the Global Summit, please do reach out to me or on any of these other channels. And as Petra mentioned, we do have an event that we're putting on in October in Montreal, which is the Sustainable Retail Summit. And we'll be sharing more details on the report and the updated materiality matrix at this event. And we'd love to meet some of you face-to-face in Montreal. So thank you very, very much, everyone. Thank you, Mary, Petra, and Jack, for being with us on today's webinar, and the rest of the Deloitte team who've supported us for 4 years and will continue to do so as we move forward. And we'll reach out to all of you who've connected with us via email to follow up on any additional questions. So thank you very, very much, everyone, for your time. Thanks for being part of this, and we're really delighted to be able to report on all of the great things that you're doing within your company. So a big thank you again, and have a very nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.